I would still right now put Jameis. I'd rather have Jameis Winston than I'd rather have Dak Prescott. Because when you look at Jameis Winston was in an imperfect situation. Yes. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let it sink in.
Bart, come on, man. We can't be making just wild, outlandish statements.
This is a major blow for Dallas, and like Stephen A. always says, just wait. Something bad always happens.
No, don't start that. Don't start that.
Let me say. No. Hold on. First of all, I wouldn't do that right now. In all seriousness, RC, This is a season-ending injury.
How the fuck did he stay at ESPN this long?
You talking about Michael Jordan? Who's the other guy? Michael Jordan. Who's the other guy?
Sam Bowie.
Sam Bowie. Well, this will be the Sam Bowie. They should have left his ass out in the ocean as well. What is it? The Atlantic Ocean out west or the Pacific?
No,
come on!
Jeez. You know it's the Pacific out
It's the Pacific. They should have left him in a buoy in the Pacific Ocean. I tell you what.
Bart Scott was one of the worst analysts I've ever watched on national television. And I don't mean that as some personal attack against the man. By all accounts, he had a successful NFL career. And you have to respect anybody who reaches that level. Playing professional football is something 99.9% of people will never accomplish. But being a great player and being a great analyst are two completely different skill sets. Just because you played the game doesn't automatically mean you can explain the game. Just because you understand football doesn't mean you can communicate that understanding in a way that informs, educates, or entertains an audience. That's where I think sports media gets it wrong sometimes. For years, networks have operated under the assumption that playing experience alone qualifies someone to sit behind a desk and analyze sports.
I think it was
Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get people who can break down film, provide insight, tell stories, and help fans understand the game at a deeper level. Other times, you get someone whose entire contribution is yelling hot takes into a microphone. And that's exactly what Bart Scott is. Every time he appeared on television, it felt like the goal wasn't to provide analysis. It felt like the goal was to say the loudest thing possible and hope it generated clips for social media. There was very little nuance, very little depth, very little substance. Just take after take. And eventually I started asking myself a simple question. If Bart Scott had never played in the NFL, would he have had this job in the first place?
How about no?
Would he have had it as long as he did?
No!
Maybe that's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but I think it's a fair one. Because if we're being honest, sports media is one of the few industries where previous fame can carry someone for years, regardless of whether they're actually good at the job they're doing.
When you look at Moses, when it comes down to guys winning MVP since 1990, it's only 3 guys that won the MVP that wasn't top 10 in scoring. Do you know who those 3 guys were?
Who were they?
Steve Nash, Jokic, and Dirk Nowitzki. Now, what do those guys have in common? I'll let it sit there and marinate. You think about it. Now here's the thing.
If an unknown person walked into ESPN with the exact same communication skills, the exact same analysis, and the exact same television presence, would they have made it to a national platform? I seriously doubt it. Those NFL, NBA, MLB, etc. resumes open doors that would have remained closed for most people. Now, does this mean that Bart Scott didn't work hard? No. Does that mean he didn't earn his football career? Absolutely not. But it does mean that his reputation as a player probably bought him far more opportunities as an analyst than his actual performance behind the desk justified. What's crazy to me is that there were times when Bart Scott's cowboy takes were so outrageous that he somehow made Stephen A. Smith sound like the reasonable person in the room. Think about that for a second. Stephen A. Smith has built an entire entertainment empire.
They will mess it up, just wait. The accident, they will let you down, just wait. The accident, waiting, the accident, waiting, the accident, waiting to happen.
around trolling Cowboy fans. It's one of the most consistent acts in sports history. And yet, there were moments where I find myself listening to Stephen A. and thinking, you know what, compared to Bart Scott, he's actually making sense right now.
What? What the fuck?
That's how bad some of those segments with Bart Scott got, bro. And look, I don't celebrate people losing their jobs. I've been out of work before. A lot of people watching this video have probably been out of work before. Losing a job is stressful. It's frustrating. It can completely turn your life upside down. So I'm not sitting here laughing because someone got fired. I'm not doing victory laps. But I also think we need to stop pretending that every termination is some great injustice. Sometimes people lose jobs because companies make budget cuts. Sometimes people lose jobs because priorities change. And sometimes people lose jobs because they simply weren't good at it. That's the reality. We don't have to dance around it. Not every firing is a tragedy. Not every departure is a massive loss for the audience. And from a viewer's perspective, if ESPN is trying to improve the quality of its program, I'm sorry.
Hey, Rip, man. Fucking Rip, man, in the chat, man.
I'm sorry, I couldn't even, I'm sorry, I couldn't even say that without wanting to laugh. That's fucking laughable. ESPN hasn't cared about they haven't cared about their quality for fucking 100 years now. It seems like 100 years. I can't honestly sit here and tell you that losing Bart Scott is some devastating blow to an already shitty network. You can disagree with me all you want. You can tell me he was entertaining. You can tell me he brought energy to the screen. Whatever, man. Whatever. But if we're talking strictly about analysis, insight, and adding value to a conversation, I thought he was one of the weakest personalities on ESPN. So while I don't take pleasure in seeing someone lose their job, I'm also not going to pretend that every person who leaves the network is irreplaceable. Some departures leave a huge void. Others simply create an opportunity for someone better to step in.
Committee would now like to invite Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes to the chamber.
Rhodey? Look, it's me. I'm here to deal with it. Let's move on.
Bart Scott is going to land on his feet. He played professional sports, so he will always have a job lined up for him, no matter what. This precedent was set decades ago, and we've all just accepted it without ever really questioning it. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Think about Charles Barkley. Before anyone gets emotional, let me say this. Charles Barkley is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the most recognizable personalities in sports. None of that shit is up for debate. But the question I'm asking here isn't whether Charles Barkley was a great basketball player. The question is whether being a great basketball player automatically qualifies someone to become one of the highest paid analysts in television history. Was Charles Barkley really qualified for the job he got on TNT? What's fascinating is that Charles Barkley has actually made more money talking about basketball than he made while playing basketball. During his NBA career, he earned roughly $40 million in salary, while his television contracts have reportedly been worth well into 9 figures, including a reported 10-year, $210 million deal with TNT. Of course, you know he works for ESPN now. Now, is Charles Barkley entertaining? Absolutely. He might be one of the most entertaining personalities sports television has ever produced. He's funny, he's unpredictable, he says things that make people laugh, he creates viral moments.
If I go to San Antonio, I'm gonna get a bunch of churros.
What kind of women are in San Antonio?
Oh, some big old women down there.
Why would you say that?
That's a gold mine for Weight Watchers.
Why say that?
He's a major reason why Inside the NBA became one of the most popular studio shows in sports history. This show won numerous Sports Emmy Awards, and Barkley himself has won multiple awards as a studio analyst. But here's where I think people confuse entertainment with qualification. Those are not the same thing. Being entertaining does not automatically make someone the most qualified person for a role. If we're being honest, Charles Barkley wasn't hired because he studied journalism. He wasn't hired because he spent years climbing through local media markets. He wasn't hired because he built a reputation as a sports reporter. He got the opportunity because he was Charles Barkley.
You're Charles Barkley. Girl, come on over. Hurry up. Hurry. Look, it's Charles Barkley.
Hey, can I play?
A Hall of Famer. His Hall of Fame career opened the door that millions of other people would have never even gotten a chance to walk through. And that's the part nobody wants to talk about. Because somewhere out there were journalists, broadcasters, producers, communications majors, and aspiring analysts who spent years learning the craft. People who studied interviewing, people who studied reporting, people who studied television production, people who spent years grinding in local markets for a fraction of the money. And yet, when the biggest jobs become available, many times those jobs don't go to the people who dedicated their lives to broadcasting. They go to the people who were famous athletes.
Not a fair choice. Fair is what you pay to ride the bus. See, that's the only fair I know.
Now let me be clear, because you know how the world is. They love to clip, they love to misrepresent. I'm not saying every former athlete is unqualified. Some become exceptional broadcasters. Some work incredibly hard at developing those skills. Some grow into the role and earn every bit of their success, like Charles Barkley. But I do think sports media is one of those few industries where celebrity status is often treated as a qualification in and of itself. Imagine if every major news network hired actors to be political analysts simply because they played politicians in movies. People would laugh at the idea, yet in sports we routinely assume that because someone played the game, they're automatically the best person to analyze it. That's a massive leap. Playing basketball and explaining basketball are different skills. Playing football and communicating football are different skills. Can we really be honest here? When you watch Inside the NBA, do you actually learn anything from Charles Barkley? I don't learn a damn thing from Charles Barkley. I don't learn a damn thing from Shaq. I may learn a little bit from Kenny Smith, but it's limited. Being famous and being qualified are different things. What bothers me isn't Charles Barkley specifically, it's the system. It's the assumption that former athletes deserve priority access to these positions simply because they were athletes and they were famous. Well, not all of them are famous, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Many of the players already earned millions during their playing careers. Then they retire and immediately move into some of the highest paying jobs in sports media. Meanwhile, people who actually train for those jobs often have to fight over whatever opportunities remain. Qualifications should matter more than celebrity. If a former athlete is the best person for the job, great, hire them. If they're entertaining, insightful, knowledgeable, and could communicate effectively, even better. But I don't think playing professional sports should automatically move someone to the front of the line. That's a privilege that exists in very few industries, and it's one that sports media has accepted for decades without much scrutiny. It's also why it's so hard for me to feel sorry for Bart Scott, or Cam Newton, or Ryan Clark, because we all know they will easily land on their feet somewhere else because it's set up for them to continuously find work in sports media.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving!
And that's all I have for y'all today. Remember, could be today, it could be tomorrow, but we're all gonna die at some point.